Hey guys and gals, Fukitol here, and last Saturday was the 1 year anniversary of my channel. So a year ago, last week, I started making videos for Black Desert and actually like producing YouTube content instead of just goofing around and like posting pictures of PvP wins and stuff. So yeah, so as a sort of 1 year celebration, I wanted to do, oh, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Thanks. As a sort of 1 year celebration, I wanted to do a quick Q&A, so you guys send in your questions and I will do my best to answer them, at least the ones that were appropriate. Alright, so Noah Allerton asks, how long have you been a PC gamer? Noah, I started playing PC games when I was 19 years old. My first game ever was Diablo 2, and my favorite thing to do in Diablo 2, and this is going to sound really, really bad, but just to tell you the difference between 19-year-old Effie and 35-year-old Effie, my favorite thing to do was to go into people's hard mode games and kill them. And if you have played Diablo 2, you know that hard mode means once you die, that's it, your character's gone forever. So I wasn't a very nice person, and I used to troll the crap out of people, and yeah, so I started playing when I was 19, and actually I didn't grow up with games. I didn't grow up with Nintendo or anything like that. Even those things existed when I was a kid, but we weren't allowed to play them. We weren't even really allowed to watch TV. So my parents were very into the like, go outside and play, go read a book, you know, that sort of stuff. We weren't really allowed to sit around and watch television or sit around and play games, and they were very, very strict when we were allowed to watch TV, what we were allowed to watch. So I didn't start playing video games until I was on my own and was actually had saved up enough to be able to buy myself a PC. So there you go, 19 years old for me. Akloma asks, what is my favorite food? If I had to pick like one thing that I would consider like a treat for me, and this is gonna sound really weird, in the US they have these pickles. They're like big giant pickles. You get them at a gas station. They come in a pre-sealed plastic bag, and they're really, really sour and really, really salty. And I absolutely love them. I think they're fantastic. So gas station pickles would be my thing. Pickles in the US are very different than pickles in Britain. Over here, you guys, even for your dill pickles, you put sugar in them, which is really, really strange to me. But pickles in the US are really sour and really salty, and the ones that you get at the gas station in the bags are the saltiest and most sour things, and I absolutely love them. So there you go. Gas station pickles are my favorite food. Wishing Chain asks, what inspired you to start YouTube, and what are my PC specs? So I'll put the PC specs over on the side, and what inspired me, hi Jack. What inspired me to start YouTube? I was playing a game called Black Desert Online, and I was looking for tutorials, for video tutorials in YouTube about how to do certain things, how to cook, how to make certain kind of pots, how to unlock nodes, how to do some things. And although the information was there, it was presented in a very rambling format. Like, it was really obvious that the people making the videos were trying to reach a 10-minute mark, because apparently that gets you more exposure in YouTube. And it frustrated me that I had to listen to this guy ramble for 10-15 minutes to get one little snippet of information. So I was like, screw it, I'm doing it myself. I will do the research and then I'll share the information and other people can benefit as well. So that's actually what got me started, was frustration with the existing YouTube content for Black Desert Online, and I was like, you know what, I can do this better. And I won't say that my videos are necessarily better than anybody else's, but the format that I presented the information in worked better for my brain type, and it seems to work great for a lot of other people too. So there you go. That's what got me started on YouTube, was Black Desert Online tutorials out of frustration. Next is Ilko, and he has 3 questions. What's my real name? I'd really rather not say. It's not a super secret. There are some people in the community who know because they figured it out, or they've heard me scold myself sometimes. You know, I go, oh, Effie, what are you thinking? But I actually use my real name instead. So I'd really rather you guys just call me Effie. I'm really big on personal boundaries. So I'm really big on keeping my YouTube and gaming life separate from my real life. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with crossing over, but over time you always wind up with like every now and then you run into somebody on the internet who's really creepy and like does not understand boundaries, and they cross lines, and I don't want to put myself in that situation. I don't want to expose my family to that. As you guys know, I have a lot of really young nieces and nephews, and I don't want people harassing them or getting into their personal information through me, and so it's just better for me to keep my personal life and my gaming life separate. Number 2, how, when, and why did we get Jack? When was Halloween? Actually, on Halloween Day in 2015 is when we got Jack. How we rode the bus to the lady's house, and we were going just to look and see if we were going to get him, and the conditions that he was living in were so terrible, we could not imagine leaving him there. So even though he was really sick and he was actually dying, when we took him to the vet had said, you know, if you'd left him there for another 3 days, he would have been dead. We could not leave him there, even though, you know, nobody wants to take on an animal that they know is going to be sick and have health problems. And we got really fortunate. Jack's actually pretty healthy considering his start in life. So that's actually how we got him, is we went to go and we were looking for a kitten, and the conditions that he was in were just, they were so terrible, we just couldn't leave him there, so he came home with us. And why? Because I wanted a cat. I've had a cat my whole adult life. I had cats when I was young, and then I developed an allergy to Siamese cats specifically because I had a cat named John, and he used to sleep like curled around my head, and I got really, really sick from it, and actually I got like an ear infection, a constant ear infection. I had it all the time, and it actually ate holes in my eardrums, and they've healed up most of the way now, so my hearing's okay now. It's not great, and it never will be. But then, so I couldn't have a cat for like the rest of my childhood. And when I was an adult, I rescued a cat named Bean from a forklift. I was working at Home Depot at the time, and I think I was like 19, and she got her litter. The mom had put the kittens in the garden center underneath the forklift, or underneath the pallet rather. We didn't know that they were there, and so when they stuck the forklift tines under the pallet and like dragged the pallet out, they kind of got all mangled, and she was the only one that survived. So I wound up with Bean, and then Bean is actually living with my parents because she was too old to travel to the UK with me. So she's living on my parents' farm in Kansas, and she's very, very spoiled, but I missed having a cat. I missed the companionship of having a cat, so that's why we have Jack. And what got me into Overwatch? I got into Overwatch actually because of one of the guys from Xen of Onslaught, and you guys have probably heard me mention them a few times, but I play with a gaming community called Xen of Onslaught. They've been around for like 15 years, so when I play MMOs, I play with Xen, and one of the guys, we were talking about, oh, you know, I'd like something else to do. We were playing Black Desert pretty heavy at the point, and I needed something, a change of pace. He's like, well, why don't you try this Overwatch game? I'm like, I don't really play FPS. He's like, I get that, but it doesn't play like a normal FPS. It's not like Call of Duty or CSGO or anything. You gotta try it. So he got me to try it, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I play it every day. I love Overwatch so much. Benny asks, what was my second favorite family member in ArcAge? Well, Mishka, of course. Gosh. Real question. What were my thoughts when designing the new Overwatch hero? Oh, because the new Overwatch hero, Orisa, was designed by Effie. And I think that's fantastic. It cracked me up when they started releasing lore about Effie and her creations, her robotic creations, and how brilliant she is as a little scientist. And it just made my day. It's fantastic. Schnopy asks, how did you get the name Fukitol? Fukitol came, I thought it was a Saturday Night Live skit from when I was a teenager, but it turns out it's actually from a Robin Williams skit, and I will link it in the description because it's pretty funny. But I always kind of, I don't want to say related because that's not the right word, but I always kind of like, I think people take life too seriously, you know, and you get knocked around a little bit. Sometimes life just flattens you, and you just gotta kind of say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna be successful anyway. It doesn't matter how hard it is. It doesn't matter how many times I get knocked over. I'm gonna keep getting up. I'm gonna keep pushing for the things that I want to achieve, and I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do the things that I want to do and accomplish the things I want to accomplish in spite of everything else that happens. So that's just kind of where it came from. Just F it. You know, who cares? It doesn't matter. Life sucks sometimes. Do it anyway. Do the things that you want to do anyway, even though it's hard. So that's where it comes from for me. Lex asks, what keeps you motivated to stream, and does Jack have a secret origin story? Well, we talked about Jack and where he comes from. I think he's actually a spy, but don't tell anybody. What keeps me motivated to stream? Actually, I don't really need motivation to stream. It's a lot of fun for me. I stream because I enjoy it. I like hanging out with you guys and talking to you guys, and I feel like I've made a lot of really great friends and met a lot of really cool people by streaming. So to me, it's just playing games with my friends. Some of them happen to be in the game, and some of them happen to be sitting around having a cup of coffee and talking, you know. So that's what it feels like to me, because our community is a little smaller and because everybody actually knows everybody else. So to me, it just feels like I'm hanging out with buds of mine. So I don't really require motivation to stream so much as it's something I want to do and something I like seek out to do. You know, sometimes it'll be, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning and I'll wake up and I can't get back to sleep, and it's like, man, I would really like to stream right now, but I can't, because like I would really like to go and talk and joke and goof around, but I can't because I don't want to wake more up. So it's really more of a something I do because it's fun for me, not necessarily because I feel like I need to, if that makes sense. So okay, so there we go. There's that question. Last question, Dingle asks, Chipotle or Qdoba? I don't know what Qdoba is. I assume it's another burrito type place, so because I don't know what it is, I'm gonna have to default to Chipotle because I have no experience with Qdoba. In general, I would rather make it myself, or actually there's really good Tex-Mex down around where my family lives in Texas. So my mom's family is from Texas. And they have some really good Tex-Mex down there. So I would rather actually go to like a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant where you have to sit at a bar because there's no tables. It's just like the bar that you go into and you sit at the bar and they make you a burrito and then you eat it. Or I'd rather make it at home myself. So given my choice, I would rather have it homemade. But if I have to choose between those two fast food burrito type places, it's gonna have to be Chipotle because I don't know what Qdoba tastes like. I've never had it before. So there we go. Your question's answered. We will have to do another one of these, maybe at the 2-year mark, maybe a little sooner than that. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and leave a comment for me so that I know that you liked it, and maybe we'll do this again in, you know, a period of time. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Have an excellent day and enjoy your game.